All right, what's going on, guys? So today I want to touch on, all the different marketplaces to resell. One of the questions that I get asked frequently are, okay, I sell on Amazon, or okay, I sell on eBay. What other marketplaces are there out there? How many of them are there, right? And is it worth my time to actually invest listing on them to make potential sales, right? So we're going to cover all that in today's video. I'm going to break down all the marketplaces that I know of. I'm going to tier them kind of into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So tier 1 is the ones that you definitely want to be on. Tier 2 is the ones that you probably want to list and play around with a little bit and you can make sales as well. And tier 3 is ones that are kind of up and coming, but I would recommend that you don't waste your time. Waste is a bad way to kind of say it, but it's not necessarily worth spending the time to allocate listing to those platforms yet, because there's just not enough high sales velocity on those platforms to make enough sales, right? But they're ones that you want to keep an eye on for going in the future, okay? So obviously we all know Amazon, and we're going to break that down here in a second in tier 1. But regardless of if you're reselling or you're generating products or you're selling e-commerce in general, right? You want to understand, okay, what type of product do I have and where is it best for me to sell that product? The answer is not always Amazon, although obviously Amazon has a high sales velocity for a lot of different things, right? So you want to understand what type of product you have, where you can list it to make it, obviously sell it the quickest, right? But also make the highest margin. Now, before we jump into that though, I am still running a Black Friday sale for about 24 hours more, so hop on it now if you want access to Online Arbitrage Pro. 60% off. This deal will only be available for about 24 hours more, and then the price will go back up. So, hopping back into the marketplace to resell now, and we'll hop over to tier 1. Tier 1 is one that I talk about all the time, and there's 4 main marketplaces here that you can resell, okay? So obviously, first and foremost, we have Amazon. Now, everything is not necessarily the best to resell back on Amazon. With Amazon, there's product listings that rank for certain sales velocities, and you can get indicators of those sales velocities with, a software like Jungle Scout or a software like Viral Launch, right? Or simply by looking at the bestseller rank on that actual product listing. So if you have an item, right, and there's not a product listing for it on Amazon, it doesn't necessarily, even though Amazon has the highest sales velocity and does the most, probably more combined than the rest of them combined, right? It doesn't necessarily behoove you to sell it back on Amazon if there's no product listing there for that item. So while it is the best, you have to source specifically for those product listings on Amazon. And if you have something that is not, listed on Amazon, you probably are better off, not probably, you are 100% better off listing it on one of these other tier 1 websites, or maybe even a tier 2 if it's better for you. So Amazon, obviously pretty self-explanatory, is the best marketplace to sell on. Then we have eBay, which is the next best, and eBay is a great marketplace because it's got high sales velocity and you can sell a lot of other things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to sell on Amazon. Plus there's just a different kind of buyer on eBay. A lot of times if you list something on Amazon, most of the time, if there's a high sales velocity on Amazon, a product like that is also going to have demand and similar demand on eBay, not necessarily to match the sales velocity, but it's going to be high on eBay as well. Although sometimes you'll notice that some products sell better on Amazon and some products sell better on eBay. So it depends on from product to product. That's why it's important to do your product research. Like I said with Amazon, you check the bestseller rank. I'll be sure to drop a video on bestseller rank down in the description so you can kind of figure out what it is and how you can, check that bestseller rank to get an indicator of sales velocity on Amazon. I've also covered how to check sales velocity on eBay as well, so I'll drop that video down in the description as well if you want to check out how to check sales velocity on eBay to see if a product that you might have or a product that you're thinking about sourcing is good to sell on eBay. Then we have my next 2 favorites, which I've really been scaling up this past year, really into 2019, and I'm excited to see where they go in 2020. So Poshmark and Mercari have been phenomenal for me this year. Now, I'm suspended from eBay because they think that I'm dropshipping. Otherwise, I'd be scaling eBay up as well. So if you have eBay at your disposal on top of Amazon, obviously, then you should utilize that and grow eBay because it's one of the best places to sell online, period. That said, I've been scaling up Poshmark and Mercari because I cannot sell on eBay currently, and I do it on the side really just on Poshmark and Mercari, and I make about $1,000 every single month just doing cashback products on Poshmark and Mercari. So it's a really great place to kind of, also list things. One of the benefits of Mercari is it's kind of like a baby version of eBay. It's kind of growing into that, and I highly recommend that you start selling on Mercari. Even if you don't invest all your time on it, start listing some things on the platform, and you will see just how easily they sell and just how willing buyers are on Mercari to buy stuff at higher prices, right? Also, Poshmark's a great place. It's more geared toward clothing, although they are starting to expand not just into other countries. They just expanded into Canada. I believe they have plans to expand into Mexico, and they also have plans to expand into Europe coming soon. Not only that, though, they're also expanding their categories, right? So a lot like how Amazon started with just books, right? They were just an online book retailer, kind of. Well, Poshmark started with clothes, and then they're slowly branching out into other categories. So they just opened a home category, and I know that they have plans to open up other categories as well. So this is not just a clothing site to resell clothes. It started that way, but it will grow and grow exponentially into the years to come. So hop on eBay, hop on Poshmark, hop on Mercari. These are three of the other ones. Obviously, Amazon goes without saying that you should be investing your time in right now so that you can profit from them in the future. Okay, so that is tier one. I've covered all these specific marketplaces in depth before. I've also done specific videos on how to sell more on each one of these marketplaces. I will be sure to drop all 4 of those videos down in the description. They basically go over 5 tips for each marketplace on how you can sell more. Moving on to the good stuff, which you guys are here for, is tier 2, right? A lot of you know that I've talked about these other ones in tier 1 before. I've covered them a lot on this channel, but what are some other marketplaces that you can list products that you can sell that might be worth your time depending on what you have? So I'm going to cover them pretty fast right here. These are marketplaces that I've sold. Most of these marketplaces are things that I've sold on and can be, if you list something, you can get sales consistently and you can make good money. So Letgo and OfferUp are 2 of my favorite ones. They're super underrated for close proximity or heavy transactions. So if you have something that's bulky, for example, right? Or you have something that is like heavy that would cost you a lot to ship on a platform like eBay or Poshmark or Mercari, and it doesn't have a product listing on Amazon, well, one of the best places, or 2 of the best places actually, to resell those would be Letgo and OfferUp, okay? Because what it does is it connects you with buyers close to you for an item like that, and then you can meet up face to face, a lot like Craigslist was before it kind of got bad, and you can meet up face to face and just exchange cash, right? So there's great benefits to that. It connects you to a close proximity of buyers where you can then flip heavy and bulky items for a profit, okay? And it's cash, so obviously we're not talking any taxes here. It's straight cash. So Letgo and OfferUp, super, super, super underrated for close proximity and heavy big transactions. It's one of the 2 of the best places that I recommend to beginners when they don't have any money to start, right? Because you can go out and source free items on Letgo and OfferUp and then literally resell them back on Letgo and OfferUp if you're willing to put the work in, okay? Now, OfferUp is also kind of introducing shipping, so they're introducing shipping across the US, and it's something that I've been playing around with, and a lot of the students in my course have been playing around with and seeing good results with, actually. So I don't have that much experience. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be like I ship all these items on OfferUp, because I genuinely don't. I usually list them on tier 1, but I have been listing some just to play around with, and I have sold a decent amount on OfferUp and shipped them out. It seems like they're kind of trying to grow the shipping aspect of OfferUp and not just sticking with the close proximity or face-to-face transactions like a Craigslist, okay? Next one is Facebook Marketplace, which is also great for close proximity or heavy bulky items, but you can list anything on Facebook Marketplace, and there's a lot of people looking for things on there. Although keep in mind, in my experience, and this is just my experience, just like this is my opinion in these tiers, all these, with Facebook Marketplace specifically, I've noticed that a lot of people lowball me, and I rarely get the price point that I want. So if you have an item that you're just trying to flip for whatever, maybe you have like Amazon returns, or maybe you have something that you liquidated, right, that you're just trying to make any margin that you can, Facebook Marketplace might be perfect for you, but just keep in mind that people do tend to lowball you a little bit on Facebook Marketplace, or at least that's been my experience. Now, Bonanza seems like a great up-and-comer for sellers as well, although it isn't quite there yet in my opinion, so it does have decent sales velocity, believe it or not, but what I would say is don't make it your bread and butter, right? If you're listing, let's say hypothetically you have like a few hundred listings across eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, right, and you do main selling on Amazon, which is a lot like kind of like what I do, right? I'm not going to list all those couple hundred items that I spent all to the time listing on eBay, Poshmark, or Mercari on Bonanza as well. The reason is twofold, right? So first and foremost, they charge ahead of time, which I don't personally love that about those types of marketplaces. Also, another marketplace we'll talk about that charges ahead of time is Etsy as well. So you pay to list something, or you pay a membership fee depending on what membership you sign up for on Bonanza and what kind of seller you are. So I don't love that about this, because I don't want to invest my time, and money specifically to find out if it's a good marketplace. So it does seem like it's got decent sales velocity. It does seem like it's a great up and comer, and it might be there in a couple years potentially, but in my opinion, it isn't quite there yet. So I wouldn't recommend making it, your go-to. Stick with these 4 in tier 1 and then play around a little bit with listing on Bonanza and see how it works for you. Now, the next one that seems like a great up and comer, and I've listed probably 20 things on this site and actually sold 2 items, so it didn't take me very long to actually sell something. Seems like a great up and comer for sellers, but it definitely isn't quite there yet. I'm sure you've seen ads for it on Instagram, because I still get ads for it all the time. They're really blowing up their brand on Instagram and just across social media in general. So Wish is a great up and comer for sellers. It definitely isn't quite there yet like Bonanza is, although I would recommend that you do just like Bonanza, invest some of your time into listings, but like I said with Bonanza, don't also make this your bread and butter, okay? So this does seem like it's a really great marketplace, and it will be there in a year or two potentially, but it's just not there yet necessarily for sellers currently. So you're not going to make a full-time living listing items on Wish, although you can list items on Wish and sell them, and they sell, pretty well in my experience, although it is a small sample size. Like I said, I just listed about 20 items, so it does seem promising, but I'll keep an eye on it going forward. The next one is Etsy. Now, Etsy has a great, it's a great marketplace as well. It should be in tier 1 in my opinion, although for me specifically and what I resell, I don't resell a lot of vintage or handmade products, and so for that reason I put it on tier 2, because I'm assuming that the majority of people watching this are not going to be reselling vintage or handmade products, right? So then it doesn't really benefit you, even if it has high sales velocity and you can make potential good money on it. If you're not reselling what you're allowed to resell back on this platform, it doesn't behoove you to actually list there, right? So only vintage and handmade products with Etsy, and keep in mind that just like Bonanza, they do charge ahead of time. I think it's like 20 cents per listing or something like that, so it's cheap obviously, but you might end up, if you're listing a couple hundred, right, and then you're not seeing the sales that you want potentially, just keep in mind that you're going to have to foot that bill to list all those items, right? It's not like eBay where you can list for free. It's not like Amazon where you can list for free. It's not like Poshmark and Mercari where you can list for free. You have to pay ahead of time, and you're only limited to vintage and handmade products. Now, 2 of my favorite apps that I've been playing around with lately that I've been loving. So sometimes I source shoes specifically to resell back on Amazon, but if I can't resell them back on Amazon, or I can't get them gated for like a top tier brand like Nike or Adidas, right, or Puma, for example, because I sold Pumas on Goat, right? Goat and StockX are 2 apps that are strictly for reselling shoes, but in my experience, they've been seeming really promising, and it seems like there's high demand on those apps for people looking for specific shoes. Now, keep in mind that it's not all shoes. It's in my experience at least, and keep in mind I haven't been selling on these for a long time, but in my experience so far, it seems like high, top brand name shoes. So if you have a top brand and it's new, chances are you can flip it on Goat and StockX for a decent margin. So that is tier 2. Tier 1, like I said, is the first 4. Tier 2 is all of these. Invest a little bit of your time playing around with these. One of them might just be a diamond in the rough for you, but I wouldn't recommend investing all of your time in listing on all of these as well as tier 1. Play around with them, see if they work for you, and use them. They're just another metaphorical tool in your tool belt. So tier 3 we're going to run through fast, and these are ones that in my opinion are not there yet and you shouldn't be investing time in, although they do seem promising and I plan on keeping an eye on them in the future, right? So people, the reason that I wanted to create this video is because people always, they'll message me or they'll email me and they'll be like, hey, what about this marketplace? So instead of kind of answering all those questions individually, I figured I would just make a video detailing what I thought about each marketplace and whether it was worth your time to invest and what thing invest the time listing in it, right? And what things you can actually sell on there, and I think it will sell well and for a good margin, right? So tier 3 consists of Craigslist, ThreadUp, Tradesy, 5 Miles, Vinted, The RealReal, Depop, and Curtsy, okay? So these are ones that seem promising. If the marketplace isn't even on this actual video, then that tells you what I think of it, okay? So these are ones that I have my eye on. Obviously, Craigslist used to be good, and it's kind of dead, but I always like to cycle back to things like this because there might be opportunities there, so we won't get too much into that. But these other ones right here seem promising, and Depop and Curtsy, keep in mind that you can only list from the app. So for people reselling where it's very easy to take like an Amazon Amazon listing and list it on eBay, right? Or take an Amazon listing and list it on Poshmark and Mercari, right? You can't do that with Depop because you have to list specifically from the app. And a lot of these, they only want pictures that you took specifically, so you can't use stock pictures. So keep that in mind. I think that's true for Vinted as well, if I remember correctly. And it might be for 5 miles, but I don't remember specifically. So these are ones that I have my eye on that might, be up in commerce for the future, but I'm not currently listing to these because in my experience, I've tried them and it just doesn't seem like there's that much demand or sales velocity on these platforms. So that is it. Tier 1, just to recap, Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. Focus on these. Obviously, Amazon goes without saying, but eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari are super underrated in a lot of resellers' eyes as well. Hop on them. There's a lot of potential there to make money. Tier 2, Letgo, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, Bonanza, Wish, Etsy, Goat, and StockX, okay? So these are great ones as well. And also tier 3 are ones that I'm paying attention to, and you can kind of try if you want to. I'm not saying don't go out and try them, but I'm saying don't invest your time listing to these because there doesn't seem like there's that much sales on them currently, okay? So I hope you guys like this video. Hope you got value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you do. Appreciate the value in today's video. Remember, for a limited time too, only 24 hours when this video launches, 60% off Online Arbitrage Pro 3.0. Link in the description for Black Friday. That sale will end in about 24 hours. So if you want to take advantage of it, act now. And I'll see you in the next one.